Hey everybody, it's Patrick here with another episode of RevTalks. Today we're joined by Jerome. How's it going today, Jerome?
I'm doing all right. Good to see you, Patrick.
Of course, appreciate you jumping on, taking some time out of your day to join up. Would you mind giving us a little bit of some background about your role as a chief marketing officer, as well as kind of what the company does as a whole?
Yeah, I'll start with what the company does as a whole. We're fully in this agentic era. We help large enterprise customers understand with precision exactly how their customers are engaging, interacting with, for example, AI agents at a massive scale. And to what end? Are those interactions resulting in purchases? Are they resulting in abandonment or frustration? And so we're able to pinpoint patterns for large customer audiences, and again connect those to connecting those to outcomes, which is definitely very timely. The company's been around for quite some time and helped pioneer, for example, video streaming analytics. So you might not have heard of Conviva, but it's very likely that we are helping to ensure that the quality of the video streaming experience that enters your devices is as high as possible. So we have some history, but again, we're applying it to this new agentic era, which is
Nice.
fascinating and exciting. And my role as marketing officer is a few things. First, it's to help shepherd the marketing function into this AI native, AI first, AI only era, which is really fascinating for me. But as you'd expect, it's also about driving brand awareness, creating pipeline for sales, and to a large degree, helping the sales team be effective in their role.
Nice. And so I noticed you were talking about utilizing the actual AI agents for the data purpose. How do you guys go about doing that? Is it mainly you guys charge by project? Is that kind of a project thing that's done, or is it more of a subscription base that you guys are sort of charging the companies, or how does that kind of roll out?
No, we're software, so we have annual contracts. And again, just a couple key points. We as a software, we're installed on endpoint devices, and that enables us to collect rich information about customer experience and engagement directly from where customers are experiencing and engaging with these digital services. And so that data is then funneled back to our platform for real-time, high-dimensional analytics at a massive scale. And again, what we're doing for AI agents, there is a parallel to what we have done with video streaming. And it's about scale, it's about dimensional analytics, and it's about doing all of this in real time. So it's really fascinating technology.
Nice. And in terms of what you're doing right now with the actual marketing role, being chief marketing officer, what are the current focuses on the company? Where is the company looking at going? What are you currently doing?
It's for any company right now. I believe we're at a critical juncture, and Conviva, I think we're really tip of the spear in this new AI era. So I think the mindset, and I think this applies to everything within marketing, but certainly beyond marketing too. It's asking questions like, how can we do things more efficiently, lower cost and higher speed, and how can AI help us? And so the proper AI mindset, I think, for organizations moving forward is to start with AI to build, for example, a workflow for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. But start engaging with the AI if you're trying to build assets for the sales team, if you're trying to develop a campaign, if you're trying to develop content. Those are just three examples. But begin the process using your LLM of choice, for example, Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT, and then resist the temptation to remove yourself from that AI interaction. Try to do as much as possible within the AI, because by doing so, you're now training the AI to understand what it is that you want it to do for you, and over time, that's going to build really rich context for you and for what it is that you're trying to do. But again, context in light of the LLM.
Gotcha. And right now, when you're currently going back and forth with the LLM and the AI, and you're really sort of getting
Yeah.
this contest is getting downloaded and everything, like how are you are you doing that where you put it in instructions, going back and forth with instructions and having it refine the instructions and putting it back in Claude? Or is it more of like you're because I know a lot of the times memory doesn't save and everything like that. How do you currently go about doing that from like a tactical perspective, prompting and context and everything?
I'll just give you, some examples, and you're asking really good questions. First, the main point that I'm trying to make here is on my marketing team, we are adopting AI first and progressing to AI only as much as possible. And so it's a massive change for the marketing function. And again, I think other organizations, not just in B2B tech, but I think we're all going to be experiencing this very soon, starting right now. And it's really important that we prepare for it. So that's really my main point. Um, the mechanics of how we do it, again, I think it depends on the preference, which AI model you choose to use. But a couple interesting examples, like the concept of, for example, a Claude skill. This is something that is now becoming relatively standard, but I only learned about it maybe 6 weeks ago, so things are changing really quickly. But um, here's an example of a Claude skill. Something a Claude skill that reflects the Conviva brand. It could be the Conviva brand skill. This includes our messaging. It includes our visual identity. Brand guidelines, and perhaps a few other things. But once we have this skill created, now I can progress to a project, and the project could be like I need to develop a PowerPoint deck. I need to develop one pagers for sales, whatever the case. Because I have this skill that's trained with our message and trained with our visual identity guidelines, it's much easier for me then, or anybody who's using the skill, to create an asset that reflects our brand and our message. And so in this case, it's a little bit less about memory, that one single chat that you're having. It's more about using a repository of these skills to ensure consistency and quality across projects and across the team. And so that's one way that we're addressing some of the challenges that you described.
Definitely, I like that, and it allows you to sort of get really good at prompting AI to teach itself, and so it's not really a matter of how much can a human teach another human to do a task, but it's like, how much can a human prompt an AI for the AI to start doing that work and then prompt itself,
That's
and you
right.
sort of create an army in that
That's
respect.
exactly right. That's the right set. And again, I think some easy ways, certainly for me, to sort of understand this and explore it, include content creation, PowerPoints, one pagers. We've also taken a step forward with other assets, video production. This one really astonished me. I'll admit this, only maybe 3 months ago, I was of the belief that AI is not ready for things like video creation. Might have been able to do a 15-second on-brand video, but to do something larger than 15 seconds or longer than 15 seconds, that was a challenge 3 months ago. We've proven, and I would say people in our sales team are proving to marketing that this is possible to create much longer videos that are consistently high quality, reflecting our messaging, reflecting our brand. And we're able to do this at a, very quickly and at a massively reduced price versus alternatives from just a few months ago. So it's fascinating. My new mindset, which is really interesting, is I went from maybe AI is not ready for this to AI is ready. I just need to figure out how to use it. So it's a new mindset.
Exactly. And I definitely hear what you're saying, because certain parts of copywriting with obviously email marketing and things like that, it's like, well, it's so easy to spray and pray and be like a sponge in the marketplace where you send an email to C-suite exec or something, and it sounds like everybody else has been using the same prompt and things like that. And so it's like, I didn't think, same with you, I didn't think AI was really capable of differentiating with enriched lists, how they can really target those people in those C-suite positions. It's like, how does it do that? And so the conversation became, how can it do it, to how can I program it to do it and prompt it to go and search for what I'm looking for and then outreach to those in the actual company. And so like when that mindset shift happened, it's like the walls broke down pretty much. It was really good. And so we were able to do a lot of work with that. So definitely you guys are already in kind of the AI wave. You guys are obviously branded around AI agents and teams and things like that. How is leading the team right now? What is that experience kind of like?
Um, it's an interesting era. I think there's a ton of excitement with respect to the realm of the possible, what we can all do with our fingertips, at our fingertips. Like I said, all the things that we can now produce, the ability for an individual to be much more effective, and frankly, break through silos. We typically hire people, or traditionally, marketing teams have hired people to own specific domains: demand gen, creative, product marketing, etc. And now what I'm seeing, a couple things. First, these very same individuals can do much more. They can expand their function to the left and to the right. So if you're a PMM, you can take on more of the content. If you're a creative person, you can take on more of the writing and the copy development. There's all sorts of different examples, and so I see my team very much leading in this new era. They're becoming much more comfortable as generalists. They're certainly adopting an AI first mindset, which is a ramp for everybody. But I'm really impressed, and I'm learning from my own team. I'm learning from teams that are adjacent to marketing. I already mentioned sales. I think sales, again, at their fingertips, they have the ability to produce really amazing content. And in some cases, they're outpacing marketing. And so we need to enable that, allow that to happen. So it's a really interesting time. And I think with it comes both excitement, but some trepidation, because I think there are questions about what does this mean for the future? And so we don't necessarily have to get into that, but at least I acknowledge that those exist.
Definitely. And what are you guys currently doing right now to acquire more customers? I know company obviously has good amount, like word of mouth referral, have good networking, things like that. What are some other initiatives you or the marketing team are currently doing?
So we focus on enterprise accounts. And again, I described that we have an existing business, which is video streaming analytics, but we're very focused on this new wave of digital experience, which, does include AI agents. And in that realm, a couple things are true. First, there's no company that has firmly established itself as a leader in AI agent or consumer facing AI agent analytics. And so we're working really hard to establish ourselves as that key player. From a demand gen perspective, we have a relatively, small and very well defined patch of customers that we're going after. And so the partnership with sales is massively important. There needs to be a targeted outreach directed by our, excellent sales team. As much as possible, marketing needs to assist and help with that outreach. Other things that we're doing, I still believe in the power of very well targeted events. So the events that we're hosting, for example, targeting VIP accounts, those can be very effective, getting people into a room, which is actually contrary to AI, because I still think the handshake matters. I think the in-person interaction matters, and so our own sponsored events, I think, are very effective, or can be effective. And then working with third-party events, if there's an event that's targeting the enterprise accounts that we really care about, as long as we can, validate that our target accounts are going to be at that event, those can also be really helpful for us. Prior to every activity, we try to engage our target accounts with a digital outreach. And so, the classic advertisements and to a certain degree, emails, those are good examples. But the goal there, for example, would be to establish brand awareness with accounts that are not very familiar with us. You don't have much time, you don't have much space, and there's a lot of noise. So breaking through that noise is a really interesting challenge. And it can't just be a one email or one advertisement and done approach. You have to enter into a nurture drip. And so we're building into that too. But again, it's often followed up, whatever the digital activity is, it has to be followed up, I believe, with an outreach from a human. And you actually said something that was interesting about emails and targeting the C-suite. This is another example of where I have some hesitation about the use of AI, because we could very easily just create a bunch of noise. And if we're targeting, as we are, indeed the C-suite with, within enterprise accounts, I would first recognize that they are receiving a lot of, outreach from other companies. And so just ask ourselves, the question, how do we break through? Again, I think you do need to establish a consistent mechanism where it's not just one touch, but it's multiple touches. But I also think we need to think through um, creative ways. If we're relying on AI to write emails, um, minimum review that email, and also minimum remove some of the overt, AI ness of the email. I think people are starting to become a little bit turned off by that, and reintroduce, personality. Be thoughtful. You might even, especially in our case, as we're targeting a small patch of customers, don't have AI write the email, have humans write the email. So there can be alternatives to AI for sure. And this is an interesting one.
Definitely, yeah. And it's almost like utilizing AI to sound personable and sound human, but then create a consistent approach to it.
Yep.
That's really the key too, because it's like getting it. Do you know those emails you receive to where it's like it sounds like it's a sales copy, or it just sounds like it's coming straight from a Facebook or Instagram ad or Google ad. Yeah, it's like there's just a straight offer, and it's like there's a couple things that work really well with cold email. One's direct offer simply, and others are like more personable. But the more direct offer emails you push, the higher your risk becomes as a marketing person, because you're going to just rip through your domains and your
Yep.
accounts. It's going to get
Yep.
there.
Totally.
So it's definitely huge. How long have you been in the actual marketing space, or if you don't mind me asking?
It's a good question. I'd say, uh, more than 25 years. I
Sweet.
go through my brain. Having said that, I've had different functions. I worked in B2B technology for 25 years. I started my B2B technology career with Microsoft, and I was with Microsoft for about 15 years. And then I entered, I moved from the Seattle area to the Bay Area. And subsequent to my arrival here, I've worked with a few companies. So Salesforce, I focus on observability after Salesforce. So I was with Splunk and then Dynatrace, and then really excited to have joined this big opportunity with Conviva 2 years ago. But as I said, for the most part, I've done marketing, but I've also done product management, business strategy, business operations, and chief of staff work even. So it's been an interesting career.
Sweet. And it's really good. And where do you see the actual marketing space going in the next 5 to 10 years, especially as a CMO, as things develop, different companies, you've seen things change over the past 2 decades. Where do you kind of see it going? What do you see shifting other than AI and things like that?
I can't just jump away from AI. I want to emphasize this point. I think it's massively significant for the marketing function, but also for most other functions. And I think those of us in marketing need to, dig in and as much as possible, create for ourselves this AI only mindset. I think that that's my best recommendation. So I do think AI is going to be really the central theme for marketers. I think there's a couple other, adjacent themes. What I think an interesting question to ask, and we've started to talk about this, Patrick, you and I, but outside of AI, what is the role of the human? And I do believe that a human ability to discern quality from AI slop, that at least in the foreseeable future, and who knows how long this is going to last, but that still remains, I think, a critical skill. Experience matters. Again, it's not just looking at words and saying this one's good or this one's bad, or this visual looks good, this visual looks bad. I think that the ability to take a step back and observe, more complex projects and the effectiveness of those projects, the effectiveness of teams, trying things, experimenting. These types of, human approaches, I think, are still going to be really critical. But I would anticipate smaller teams, definitely assisted very heavily by AI. As I mentioned, I think generalist skills are also going to be really critical versus siloed skills. curiosity matters. And again, I think integrity, the handshake, those types of things also matter. So marketing is going to
Definitely.
a lot of changes.
100%. I definitely agree. And where exactly can we find the company website? Where can we find your socials and things like that?
Perfect. Well, you can find us at conviva.ai. That's the best single place to go, and we'll be funneling most of our content and activities through that website. So if you remember one, check out conviva.ai.
Sweet. Appreciate it. I appreciate you taking some time out of your morning, Jerome, to hop on here on RevTalks. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I hope you have a great weekend too, Patrick.